What's good, YouTube, man? Today we're gonna be talking about the day I got fired, man. It's 2K Veteran here, aka Bros. Like, comment, subscribe for this story time, and we got more on the way. So, where did this story start? So, boom. So, I had this summer job, right? It was like the summer of 2018. You feel me? I'm going into my senior year, and I had a summer job, but I ain't gonna lie. Like by this time, I had spent all my bread, so I needed a second job. Like it was no option. Like I was dead broke. Just spending my money on stupid things. But that's the advice: do not spend your money. So look, so my job that I was working at in the summer put me onto this other job, for the fall. And it was like at Coney Island, right? I was playing like I was just supposed to, be in a character suit basically, and give kids candy and stuff like that. So boom. So, we go through the whole interview process. It was smooth, you know what I'm saying? They were seeing, they were asking us easy questions and stuff like that. Plus I got referred to by my last job. So for me, I got the job immediately. So boom, let's get to the first day, right? So the first day I come in, right? We go into this like back area, you know what I mean, and we, change into our little outfits for the day. And I had like this pirate costume, which I was like, this looks ridiculous. It was just like this ridiculous looking pirate costume or whatever. And yeah, man, that's what I had to wear and stuff like that all day, mind you, right? So basically, the schedule was, I believe it was around like 7 o'clock, and we worked from 7 to about 12. Then we had lunch for like 30 minutes, and then we worked from 12:30 to like 7, right? And what we had to do was we had different posts. So we had to like stand on different spots, and I had like this little spots near the rides. Like if you know where Luna Park is, you know that part has so many rides like around that area. Like that's where I was. So I'm doing my job. No kids that came yet or whatever. It's early in the morning, so nobody had really come to the park yet. But as time goes on, more and more people come to the park. And so, I'm standing or whatever, and honestly, for the first couple hours, it was cool, It was not that cold, you feel me? I'm, looking like a pirate. I'm saying R and stuff like that, you feel me? I'm doing my job. Lunch comes, we go to lunch. Everything's cool, I eat my food and stuff like that. Get back to work. Here's where the BS happened, right? So I'm working, at my station. At this point, I believe it was like 1, 2 o'clock. Now the park started getting filled up. Everybody's there. The kids are there, parents are there. People on the rides. People having a good time. So this was like the part of the busiest day. And I ain't gonna lie, my feet started getting tired, and you know what I mean? So like, I'm stretching and stuff. I'm like stretching my body and all that. And I'm starting to notice like, yo, I don't think I'm gonna last all 7 hours. Like, this is gonna tire me out. Cause mind you, I even have real shoes on. Even the shoes that they gave us was costume. Like everything that we had on was just costume from like Party City or something. So I didn't even have on real shoes. I was just had like these weird pirate shoes or whatever. So for me, my feet was killing me. So boom, I'm giving candy to the kids. I'm doing my job, mind you, right? I'm saying R, I'm giving kids candy. I think there was like this mystery or whatever that the kids have to solve or whatever. So, I was interacting with people all day and stuff. But at some point I was like, you know what, man? Should I sit down? Cause my feet are killing me. So, when at some point I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down. Cause my boss wasn't around anyway. Like not even my boss, but my supervisor. She wasn't around. So I'm like, shoot, they won't see me sitting down here, right? So I sit down for like maybe 2 minutes, bro. 2 minutes, and I get my ass up, start doing my job again, start doing what I gotta do. And then like let's say an hour and a half goes by and I get tired again. I'm like, man, like my feet are killing me. So I sit down again for like a minute or two because I'm just like, I'm making sure before I sit down that nobody's around. So I sit down, you feel me? I sit down for like 1 or 2 minutes. I'm like, damn, I really don't want to do this, right? So I'm packing. I'm like, dang. I'm like, ah. But mind you, I didn't stop doing my job, so I was still giving out candy and doing everything I had to do. You feel me? That was all we had to do. We just had to give out candy and just play our characters or whatever. So I'm doing my job, whatever, and we were all like I want to say 16, 17. So we weren't really taking our job that serious. And the reason I say we is because I seen everybody else as a pirate. Nobody was doing anything extra. You know what I mean? Nobody was taking it up there like Disney does. We were just chilling, basically in our costumes or whatever. So, I sit down for another 2 minutes. I think this time I was like, shit, nobody watching, so let me sit down for like 5 minutes. So I sit down for like 5 minutes, you feel me? Get my break, but I was still just tired. I'm like, man, I do not want to do this. Because I'm just like, man, I want to go home because I'm like, dude, I didn't know this job meant we were going to be standing up all day and all that stuff. So at some point I started leaning against something, you know what I mean? Like, just to try to stay up. And so I want to say about 5 o'clock rolls around, right? And my supervisor comes to me and she says, "You're dismissed for today." So I'm like, oh, thank God. And my dumbass says, "Thank God," like right there. Like as soon as he says, like, "You're dismissed for the day," I'm like, thank God, literally to her. Right? So I say that. I'm thinking like we're leaving early. So I'm like, thank God. But I realized, I'm walking back to the little changing room. I'm like, wait a minute. Everybody else is still working. I'm thinking, shoot, maybe she just let me off early. You see how people just, like, bro, you see how they slam the door? That shit crazy. Anyways, so I'm thinking, I'm just leaving early. So I'm like, all right, right? So I leave, I change. I'm like, thank God I'm out of this bitch. Get my clothes, hit the train, I'm out, right? And so I believe there was a group chat, right? Or maybe, no, that's not what happened, right? So I started getting texts from people that I work with, right? They're like, yo, bro, did you get fired? I'm like, no, 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 no. You feel me? She just dismissed me early or whatever the case may be and stuff like that. They were like, nah, bro, you got fired. They were talking about you in the change room, saying you were sitting down and this and that and the third, and you wasn't really taking your job serious. I'm like, what? Cause I'm like, bro, I was doing my job. Yeah, I took an occasional break now and then, but you gotta understand, we were standing up in single spots for hours of the day. So in my head, I'm like, bro, what you think we supposed to stand all this time? Like, I can't take a 2 minute sit break, even though I'm doing my job. It's not like I'm just sitting slacking around all day, because I could have been doing that. But I was sitting like 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time, so I wasn't really, doing nothing crazy. But yeah, they were like, yeah, man, you got fired, whatever, whatever. I had other people text me. One of my mans that worked there was like, yeah, man, did you get fired? And I told him even too, I was like, nah, like, I think they just let me off early. And that's what I genuinely believed. Mind you, this is the first day, right? I think there was work like 4 or 5 times a week. So, I'm like, nah, because I'm like, I don't think I got fired because I genuinely didn't believe that. So I go to work the next day. I go to the changing room and the lady there tells me, sorry, you don't work here anymore. I'm like, excuse me? What you mean I don't work here? She's like, you don't work here. You got released yesterday. I'm like, yo, my mind is blown. Because I'm like, these niggas really fired me on the first day. And they did. So I wait till like the head supervisor comes back. I'm like, ma'am, listen, I go there asking for my job back. I'm like, ma'am, listen, I'm sorry, you feel me? Blah, 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 you feel me? I just, I wasn't used to standing up and this and that and the third, you feel me? Like, I was not trying to lose that job. And she was like, well, first impressions, blah, blah, blah. First impressions mean everything. You know what I mean? And, you were really sitting, so I'm gonna have to let you go. Mind you, I wasn't the only one sitting, bro. I know some of them sat at least once, bro. So that blew my mind. I'm like, so there's nothing I could do. She was like, it's out of my hands, this, that, and the third. I'm like, wow. Wow, right? So I'm like, man, I went home, like, I posted on Snap. I'm like, man, fuck Luna Park, man. Fuck them niggas. But yeah, man, moral of the story, bro, is like what she said, bro. First impressions go a long way, bro. When you're doing anything for the first time, meeting somebody, or going to a job for the first time, or doing anything, or whatever the case may be, maybe you can slack off for the rest, but that first day, that first chance that they look at you, bro, you gotta show them you're serious. You feel me? Like, no matter what it is, like when you meet somebody, that first impression is how they're gonna see you the rest of the time you know them. So, bro, that first impression, do not ruin that first impression. Make sure every first impression is amazing, man. Hope you got something out of this story, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gone.